Hundreds of years ago, perhaps. Yeah. Is this the sort of place that you would choose then?
This type of place would be, yeah, good. I can't say that I've done any in this field. I've got a bit of trouble for this sort of thing a while back, but too much honesty.
But it's nice in that there's a slope that goes away and it can be seen from the various other hills that surround it, and also the road.
And the road, yeah, which is of course where you're going to get most of the people who drive past. They'll stop, pull into the car park and get out and take a walk up into a field they probably never would have.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for the crop circle, so it does attract a lot of people in. Wouldn't have really come to this area.
We're here in, albeit the failing light, but normally you'd be sneaking out under the cover of darkness, I take it.
Yeah, in the summer months it's usually about 10 o'clock, half 10. You're safe with darkness. You've got to get out by about 3:30 when it gets light.
Yeah.
So it gives you about 3-4 hours in the night time. Sometimes you can get as much as 5 hours in. There's fog in the morning. You can stay in a bit longer because the fog will hide you, so they won't see you from the road. And when the fog lifts in the morning, you've got this wonderful crop circle which has just been planted there by some mysterious force.
Who are you afraid of being spotted by? Is it the farmers, or is it the people who flock to this area just to find crop circles?
Well, really, police.
It's the police?
It's yeah, because I mean, at the end of the day, the farmer will report it to the police. It's the police who are my ultimate worry in making crop circles. But angry farmers can always be, maybe mollified by an offer of some money. I'm sure if we were caught in the middle of it, we could work something out.
Yeah. And what about the droves of people who come to this? And what about the droves of people who come to this part of the country throughout the summer season, looking for new crop circles?
What about them?
Well, they're always on the lookout for you.
Yeah. They're always on the lookout for them.
And again, Chris, do that question.
And you don't want to be caught in the act, basically, of making them, I guess. You want them to see a completed product, don't you?
Yes.
What about the droves of people who flock to this part of the country in the season, if you like, looking for new crop circles?
Well, there's people who go out at 7 in the morning looking for the latest designs, patterns. They'll generally find them, within an hour or so of going out, and then they'll be up probably by about 9 o'clock in microlights. And the small clubs have started to thrive off the extra tourism business. Microlights take you up for about £45 for half an hour, and you can have a great view from the air of the landscape and the crop circle. It's quite exciting stuff.
So, although it's got a bad reputation, it's good for the tourist business.
The tourist industry's done very well out of it. I mean, millions and millions have spent on hotels, transport buses come down with coachloads of people and pay the farmer £1.50 a time to get into the field. Yeah, it's good business, I would say.
Books, postcards, t-shirts?
Books, postcards, t-shirts, videos, lectures. They're expensive.
Okay, well now it's...
Chris, do the question.
They are actually £59.
So you totally rule out UFOs.
Yeah, okay.
Okay with that?
Okay. So Matthew, here we are on the side of a field. You've got your tools of the trade in hand. You're going to give us a demonstration of how these things are made. Consequently, I presume there's no alien involvement. It's just down to you, is it?
Well, if there are aliens out there doing it, they're using stomper boards and these little sort of these little markers, because I mean there's things there like combing effects, which are people are going round and round and round the same area, flattening it down, and you get this combing effect. And that wouldn't be there with aliens, I'm sure. If they were doing it, they'd be using some sort of instantaneous technique that would be undeniable even to the likes of me. But I'm still waiting to see something that is completely mind-boggling. I've been researching this for years, as well as looking at the art and going in and making it myself, and I've never seen anything that's proof of aliens to me.
So from your perspective, it is an art then? You treat it very much as a creative...
It's a creative art, but it's interesting what other people will get from that creative art, because what they say they'll see in crop circles are extraterrestrials, balls of light, strange UFOs. I mean, I think it's like a placebo. People will see things in man-made crop circles, and of course once they've seen something, then there's no way that could be a man-made crop circle because they saw something. But I think people need to step back a little bit and see where this is coming from. It's a bit of a placebo. You're convincing somebody of something, they go off and have an experience which goes along with that.
And as an art form, it's certainly developed.
Yeah.
And as an art form, it's certainly developed from its early stages when they were simple circles, because now some of the designs are extraordinarily complex.
You've got people who are artists, designers, graphic designers, people interested in sort of this art form, and they've been developing it for many years. And mean, the teams challenge each other, you know, to see who can get the best designs, and that challenge to impress the public, to boggle the mind, to push the bounds of what can be done in an evening. That's the challenge. That's where the mystery comes in, because it's getting better every year.
How many people are there in this little group that do the crop circles, would you say?
In this area, I know of about 25 people who work, and you know, they share team members from time to time. So not every team is exclusive. You know, you borrow a member in because you haven't got enough people one night. You know, some people have got families, businesses, they run jobs to go to. So it's not easy working in the middle of the night and getting up in the morning and going off to your job. So you do what you can with the people you can, and sometimes if you get a lot of people together at the same time, you get a very big circle that's very complicated.
What's the biggest team that you might have out there?
And again, Chris.
What's the biggest team that you might have out there?
The biggest team I've been involved with was 9 people. I would imagine, without giving confidences away, that the biggest teams out there have been up to 15 people working at once.
Some of the real monsters, complex monsters.
It's quite a logistical nightmare keeping 15 people in the dark doing the right thing.
No torches?
No torches, no, because the researchers are on the hills watching. If you used a torch or even lit a cigarette, you'd give yourself away. And light is a big problem. Sound isn't so much of a problem because it doesn't travel as much as people would think at night. The sound of crunching crop is quelled by the crop itself. I think it doesn't travel very far. And, you know, get away with these things.
Yeah, remarkable. So, sort of commando tactics then.
It is a bit like a military operation. You've got to get in, do the job, get out, not get caught. You know, it's SAS, I suppose. Who dares wins.
And you plan everything in advance, obviously the whole design, and choose the site. So
yeah, I design most of mine on paper, as do many of the other circle makers. It's funny that, you know, we're only just getting into this computer design thing, and it does help with accuracy to use computers, but most of the designs that have been done up to this point, I would say, have been done on paper with a compass and a pencil.
yeah. And what about choosing the spot? Chosen in advance, of course.
Not necessarily. There are other factors which can stop you using a chosen field, like researchers having a meditation session in that field, you know, wishing a circle to come down, and you might have to work in an opposite field. So, you know, you work near these researchers, they might come along in the morning and say that circle appeared for them, you know, but you can't always pick the locations. There's other factors that stop you using a particular field.
As an artist and someone who, you know, produces these things.
Hello, Chris.
As an artist.
Okay.
Sorry.
As an artist, you know, someone who produces these designs, and beautiful they are too, how do you feel about people reading too much into them? You know, the alien, the extraterrestrial involvement.
And finish that off.
Yeah, the extraterrestrial involvement.
I'm a little bit worried about some of the beliefs I hear going around. Some of the stuff is a bit apocalyptic, it's a bit cultish, you know, you've got people trying to get followers to believe some quite wacky theories, and I mean, it does involve money and lectures and things like this, you know, it's a lot of money involved, and I think really it takes people away from actually going out into the fields and making their own minds up about what's going on. I mean, certainly I went out on my own and found out people were doing it and decided to sort of take part myself, and I think that element is a problem, really. So I'm repeating myself.
That's right. Last one, have you ever been caught? You've been arrested or something?
And we're there, and off we go.
Have you ever been caught in the act, you know, so to say?
I wasn't caught in the act, but I was caught because I admitted that I did a particular circle to demonstrate what was capable to a researcher. I posted details to an American researcher and said, you know, your friend will say this is a real circle, so this will be proof to you that I made it. And unfortunately, the American researcher had the idea it would be good to sort of, you know, shot me in and told everyone that I was making this circle. It completely destroyed the experiment. I was then reported to the police. It was illegal. I didn't pay the farmer for the use of the field, and I got fined some money, got given a criminal record, and a lot of hassle. So, you know, anyone else is thinking of making crop circles, I'd think twice about doing illegal ones. I'd always pay the farmer if I were you.
Off you go.
Have you ever been caught in the
Come
act?
a bit closer to the mic.
Have you ever been caught, so to say? Have you ever been caught in the act, so to speak?
I was caught because I sent a design to a researcher in order to prove that another researcher would determine it was man-made. Oh, sorry, I'll start again.
All right.
I got that the wrong way around.
Have you ever been caught in the act, so to speak?
I got caught because I was trying to prove to one researcher that another researcher would think a circle I made was made by extraterrestrials or some other force. I sent him a design, and this was supposed to be kept secret between me and him. He thought it would be a good idea to pass that information back out to the research community, you know, as a joke on me basically. And I hadn't paid for the use of the field, so when it got out I did get prosecuted for it, got a criminal record, and I wouldn't suggest that anybody else goes out making illegal crop circles, because it could happen to them.
I'm sorry, it's going in and out of focus. I just went. Okay, just ask that question one more time.
Okay. So, have you been caught in the act, so to speak?
Yes, I was caught because I sent a design to a researcher to prove that another researcher would determine the circle I made was paranormal in origin. It was to prove a point. Unfortunately, the researcher leaked the design out, and I hadn't paid for the use of the field, so I was brought to Devizes Court and fined £125, given a criminal record, unfortunately, for the art form of making crop circles.
Okay.
Okay, white top one, please.
Okay. Designs. I mean, this one is extraordinary.
Well, it's a 7-fold star. This was the one I did as a demonstration, in particular to the researcher. You have to have 7 points which go around in circles in this area. You make your 7 points, and then you, on the 7 points that you've put the posts in, you stand, 2 people, hold tape equal length out into the crop, and then you walk it. You walk these lines, and then once you've walked them, you can flatten them. I mean, once you've got the 7 points, you can work 7-fold geometry to all these inner encompassing points, and it's just a case then of which bits do you flatten, i.e. the darkened areas, and which bits do you leave standing, which are the white areas.
What else have you got? Have you got any more you can show me?
That's another one.
Just occasionally look up to Chris as well, Matt.
Sure, and that's what we've got here. That one appeared, so that can't be really shown. That's another variation of a different inner design. You can change the way you shade them, obviously, and it affects the. It looks very different. So some of these, I'll get you to a good one. Some of these haven't appeared, you see, so I've got to be careful. There's like that one. I'd like to do that one. It's a bit shoddily coloured in, but I mean, I think you get the idea.
Indeed, yeah.
Interference patterns, just starting with lots of lines, and I mean, indeed, you'll have been seeing this type of thing this year appearing in the fields, similar to the face that appeared near Chilbolton Hill telescope. There's a face appeared, and what you've got is a number of segments that have been measured out down the side, and then somebody decides which bits to fill and which bits not to fill to create the picture of a face. And that was quite successful this year, and I'm not owning up to that. I don't know who did that one. So, oops. See, I've got to be really careful.
I'm not
with
sure.
These.
I can't
I've
see
got to be
this.
really careful with these, because this is incriminating stuff from a point of.
Matt, I can't see this at the moment, so don't worry.
But yeah, one of these ones actually. There's that one, isn't it? Right.
That's a neat one. Has that one been done?
Yeah, this one was done. We didn't do this bit in the end. Sort of decided to leave it off, but I mean, this is 11-fold geometry. What's interesting about this one is these things look like little pyramids around the edge, so you've got 11 pyramids, square pyramids around the edge on that. And again, you know, it's a case of get your 11 points around the edge, provided when you get round to 360 your tolerances have held up. You shouldn't have too much deviation. If you do, you have to subdivide your deviation over the 11, and then you correct all the points, move them around a little bit further. Once you've got 11 perfectly equal spaced points, you can make your lines. You can go down, 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 down. It's a non-symmetrical figure, but as you see, I mean, these pyramids make it something to look at. It's kind of interesting.
Superb. And how large was that one when it was cut across?
I think this was about 200 feet across, 250 feet. That's your average size, generally determined by the lengths of tape that we use. I mean, I use 100-foot tape, so if I use 2, then I can get a 400-foot circle in radius. That's about as large as you'd want to go using the type of tape I use, because if you pull it any tauter, you'll break the tape. Even though it's quite strong fiberglass tape, you know, you can actually end up snapping the thing by pulling it too taut.
Do you know, one thing that strikes me is that there's no room for error, is there? Because if you make a mistake, it's going to be there for everyone to see. So you must have to be extremely careful when you start to flatten the core.
You have to be very careful, and mistakes are made. People do have to walk away from circles and leave them with mistakes in them. But what often happens, if you do make a mistake and you can do something to hide it, then you can, on the go, put something else into the circle to hide the fact that you've made an error. Otherwise, I've even seen people flatten the whole circle, you know, because they've made a mistake. So then people go, well, what's this underlying design that looks like it should have been there and wasn't there? And, you know, people get into that sort of argument and question about these things. But yeah, people do make mistakes, but I'm lucky in many respects that I haven't made too many over the years, and I think the standards are getting so good now that you're not getting wonky lines like you used to in the early years. I mean, we've got straight lines, we've got very good circles with clean edges, and lots of measurement points around the edge, which make life easier. If you've got your measurement points right to start with, you can make very complicated designs.
All right, let's have a look at a few of those that we can see.
You get us a tape ready.
Another tape?
Yeah, okay.
These are all just in the proverbial by showing you something that I shouldn't. I just quickly grabbed these, you see, when I went in the house. So there are some others that I would like to do.
Is there any way we can spin you around to cheat it?
Yeah, okay.
Is it dark?
Well, it's almost dark, you know. Can you show me? How do you do this? You know, give me a few of the secrets, that sort of thing. Okay, and then so if you put that down literally and pick up the pieces and start. All we need to do really is to work in this area to show the technique, so we don't need to produce anything of any, you know, it's literally how you flatten it, how you measure it, and everything, you know, everything. Okay.
Mention the darkness.
Yeah. Well, Matthew, it is much darker now. I know.
Come a bit closer. Okay.
Well, Matthew, it's much darker now. I know it's not completely dark, but do you feel confident enough to show me, you know, roughly, without giving all the secrets away, how you do it?
Sure. I mean, we can do the quickest crop circle in the world if you want.
Go on then.
Okay.
Go on then.
Right, let's put this down. First off, you need to measure. So I'll get you to hold some tapes. These are two that are tied off. Basically, if you give me a distance, I need you to come out into an area here,
Right.
and I need you to turn on your heel.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're holding a certain distance. We'll say that distance is measured out as 2 meters. Okay, so you hold it at 2 meters, stop it from turning. Best way to do that is to just get it, wrap that around your hand.
Okay, Matt, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to leave this one recording.
Yeah.
The sound.
Best thing to do is wrap it around your hand so 2 meters is showing.
Just 1 second.
You don't have to do it in one continuous shot, do it, because he's got to
Wait
get
there.
all this in.
All right.
Okay, do you want to come
Wait there for 1 second, Matt. You're going to have to wait for me. Okay, off you go.
Maybe stand by there. Right, quickest crop circle in the world, so you have to turn on your heel. Yeah. So basically, standing there, I hold the tape against my chest, decide clockwise or anti-clockwise, well let's do this one clockwise. So I walk through the crop, and as I walk, my feet leave what we call a walk line. This is the outer perimeter of the circle. Then, once we've completed the outer perimeter, we can put our posts in the edge. This really is going to be the quickest crop circle I've ever done.
It's probably the smallest one you've ever done, isn't it?
Well, yes, the smallest complete one, because you do small ones like this on the edge, but we shall see. Now then, measurement. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, we're missing one stick. Now, a little interesting fact, the radius of a circle goes 6 times around the edge. Magical 6 number. So if we measure 1 point, we start here, put the post in, and I can just about do it because it's quite hard. Right, if you come out to where we were sort of putting this post in, right, and you hold your 2 above the top, yeah, and then I say, well, that's that point, go to there. Do exactly the same thing. If we've got our measurements right, we should find that this goes in 6 times. To vertical. As I say, I've only got 5 posts today. I didn't grab that.
TV.
Yeah, Matthew, stick that on the night scope, will you?
Just switch the
Have you got the
switch
gain on that
side.
one, Stu?
You see it?
Super shot,
No, see it above it. It's a switch.
night shot.
Left, right, yeah. Okay. Should gone a bit green, yeah.
Yeah, it looks a bit. It's got a bit black and whitish.
Yeah.
Bit greeny black and white on the night shot.
What do you think? What's happening?
But Max, do you mind if we use that one? And just I'll just put my tape in it.
Can you get this tape out of here, Matthew?
Yeah, sure.